Come along, children. Now we're going to have a little music.
Hi everyone, Sabrina here with a quick review of David Lowery's The Green Knight. I think David Lowery takes an interesting approach on an Arthurian legend, which is something that we're familiar with in cinema, but not quite like this. I feel like he adapted a poem. First of all, it's just a poem. It is not a full story, but it has been translated multiple times, and Tolkien has his own kind of adaptation of that in a novel as well. I think he subverts expectations because, of course, he is partnering with A24 again, and I feel like it's very in line with his previous work, which was a ghost story. It is a moody, cinematic piece of storytelling. Truly, I feel like this is a slow burn reflection on morality, and it genuinely immerses us into the world of what we're experiencing, which is something that I found from a ghost story, and it provides this surreal coming-of-age chivalric romance, and it sets it apart from prior medieval adaptations. This story centers on King Arthur's nephew, which is Sir Gawain. He's reckless, he's definitely very strong-willed, and he hasn't really earned his place. He was just kind of born into it. So he goes on this quest to kind of prove his worth and define who he is as a person, and that's when, he faces the Green Knight, and I definitely want to leave as little going into this, just in case anybody watching this hasn't seen it yet, because I went in with a completely fresh and open mind, and it was such an amazing experience. I feel like the visual storytelling lends itself to like many different meanings and interpretations. It's very metaphorical. There is a lot to really dive into here, and that's something that I found to be so interesting about this film in general, is because the way it concludes and the way that we go through this story in so many different ways, it's dazzling, it's epic, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily have a clear, hard-cut interpretation of every single thing that we're seeing. I feel like it's up to the audience, and Lowery trusts the audience enough to come up and kind of think about whatever that they're experiencing. And although Gawain did have this great, brave moment, and as the year passes until he has to meet the Green Knight again and fulfill the challenge, he's not embraced that heroism. And that's what I find to be so interesting. And he hesitantly embarks on this journey, and along the way meets a lot of people. And every supporting character that Gawain meets along in this journey provides a new perspective to him as a person. It challenges him in a variety of ways that the Green Knight doesn't. It's so interesting, from Aaron Kellerman's Saint Winifred, Alicia Vikander's Seductive Lady, Barry Keoghan's Scheming Highwayman. These sequences add layers to the story and make the treacherous journey all the more captivating. Something I found so interesting is the way that David Lowery shows the passage of time. He has this old medieval marionette kind of display of everything and display of the story that we're witnessing. And it just adds another really interesting layer to everything that he's introducing in this film. David Lowery partners up with the same cinematographer he worked on with A Ghost Story. So we're expecting some of this huge, grand, cerebral, lively, vibrant, textured, and that's exactly what we get from this. The use of color, I think, is absolutely fantastic, but you can see the texture in everything, from the lush landscapes that we're introduced to in this film to the texture of people's outfits, the grass. There's just so much that you feel like you're immersed in this and that you're living in this world, almost as if the scenery is a character in itself. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about the conclusion. This is non-spoiler, but my thoughts on the conclusion is that it feels very much so earned. I think it pleasantly suits the tone and atmosphere of what we've been presented and this journey that we've gone on with a 2-hour runtime. I feel like the atmosphere that was built throughout this film is concluded in a very, very interesting way. I think it's going to be divisive for audiences, but I think that's to be expected from some of Lowery's previous work and also just A24 in general. I think every moment in this film, like I mentioned earlier, is meant to be felt for our own interpretation. I feel like throughout history, so many people have dissected this poem in the past, and that's kind of the same thing that we're doing with this film. This film is art. This film is easily my favorite film of the year. I was highly anticipating it for a very long time. Ultimately, I think The Green Knight is an epic fantasy that sets it apart from other works in the genre and adaptations quite like this. From mesmerizing visuals, haunting score, David Lowery's poetic storytelling, I think it takes the viewer on a journey themselves. and you truly get a chance to live and breathe in this world. Every shot and step of the way is crucial for this interpretation. It captures and reels you into the dreamlike voyage of a character's evolution. Rarely are we introduced to or really get to spend that much time with such a complex protagonist, and I think Dev Patel fully embodies Gawain through all of these flaws, and ultimately we continue to root for him. And it provides such interesting outlook and conversation, and that's why I am giving The Green Knight a 9 out of 10. I am a fan of Lowery's work. We are going to be posting a Meaning Of episode on David Lowery coming up this week. And also, if you want to check out my interview with Dev Patel and Joel Edgerton, you can do so on the Geeks of Color YouTube. Also, my review for The Green Knight, my written review, on the Geeks of Color website as well. And that was my review for The Green Knight. I'm Sabrina Ramirez. You can hear us talk about The Green Knight in more length in our upcoming Meaning Of episode that will be coming out this next week. And I highly encourage you to check out this film if you're interested in it. And with that, till next time.
For you, only one can remain. It's either me or you. Only one can remain. It's either me or you. Take you out the equation.